Right when Leo and I were about to get married, his first came back. He didn't accompany me to the bridal shop, he went to the airport to pick up first. He lied to me. I started to hesitate about whether I should marry him at all. Alex, I disguised myself and went to the karaoke bar, wanting to know what he really thought in private. Molly, if she didn't look 70% like Bella, I'd never marry her. What about her actually matches me? So I was just someone's stand-in? While I was undergoing surgery for a perforated ulcer, he was keeping another woman company and calling me unreasonable. Why on earth would I still want a man like that? I joined forces with his nemesis, and the next day his scandal was everywhere, plunging Maxwell into crisis. He still wanted to come begging for forgiveness, but I'd already left the city. Today is my bridal gown appointment, and Leo had promised to come with me, but he got a sudden phone call, then jumped in his car and sped off, claiming something urgent had come up at Maxwell and he absolutely had to be there. I understood, he's fiercely ambitious, a man who became CEO of a tech company at 28. That position came from more than talent, it was the result of day and night grinding. Outsiders envy the life we're building together, saying I'd hit the jackpot. Even Best jokes that I must have saved the Milky Way to bag a man as outstanding and dependable as Leo. I tried on 3 gowns alone, unable to decide which one to order. Then Lynn called, her voice urgent. Molly, you and Leo didn't go to the shop together? I gave a bitter laugh. No, he got a call and suddenly rushed to the office. Lynn went quiet for 2 beats, no longer her usual cheerful self. Oh, okay. I was picking up a client at the airport and spotted someone who looked exactly like your Leo, helping a woman who could be your twin haul luggage. I seriously thought it was you. My heart lurched, but I feigned calm. He said he had a board meeting. Impossible, you must have seen wrong. Lynn forced a chuckle. Maybe. My eyesight's terrible. Don't overthink, go finish shopping for your dress. Sure. Her words left me rattled. I couldn't concentrate on chiffon or lace. I told the consultant I'd come back another day. That afternoon I hovered at home, unsettled. I went to the market and bought Leo's favorite chicken wings and short ribs, determined to cook for once. We've both been swamped, and I hadn't touched a pan in ages. I was rusty. The knife slipped and sliced my finger. Blood beaded fast, my brows knitting at the sting. I slapped on a band-aid and powered through the pain until every dish was done. Tonight was our anniversary, the night we first met. I set the table, picturing Leo walking in to celebrate with me, yet 8 o'clock came and went and he never showed. I called, no answer. I texted, no reply. Dejected, I ate alone, tears slipping silently into my rice. Afterward I went to bed. In the haze of half-sleep I felt the mattress dip and caught the reek of alcohol. Leo was home. I ignored him. He drifted off at once, but his phone kept pinging. Over and over. Unable to stand the noise, my sleep is light, I reached for the device. Leo was stone-cold unconscious, never stirring. The phone now needed a passcode, something new. I tried 6 combinations, all wrong, yet the pings kept coming. Then I remembered a string of digits he once wrote in a notebook. When I asked, he'd smirked and called it his lucky number. Heart hammering, I keyed it in, success. A banner of new messages from a woman lit the screen. Her profile pic, Bella on a Parisian street, smile blazing with confidence, glamorous and, disturbingly, a mirror of my own face. Leo, are you asleep? I can't sleep, come keep me warm. This hotel room feels like ice. I know this is wrong, but I feel something real for you, and you know it. I didn't come back just because my marriage crumbled, I came because I missed you. Reading those intimate lines, I realized this had to be the Bella he'd once mentioned sparingly, the first whose name always left him looking tragically lost. Had Leo blown off our gown appointment to fetch Bella from the airport? Would he actually call off our wedding for her? No, impossible. We have genuine feelings, or so I muttered to calm myself, though unease still prickled. I blanked for a second, the phone clattered onto the nightstand. My face drained, snooping is hardly honorable, and I've always valued honesty. Fortunately the alcohol kept him dead to the world. He merely rolled over and mumbled, Bella, don't worry. From now on, I've got you. Next morning, as usual, I was up early fixing breakfast and a pot of hangover soup. After washing up he took in the spread and said, Molly, I'm sorry. An enormous client landed in town and I couldn't get away yesterday. Let me shuffle meetings. We'll hit the boutique the day after tomorrow, okay? I answered with the perfect understanding smile. Of course, work first. The dress can wait. He gulped the soup and added, Molly, you're amazing. His handsome face looked so sincere I almost believed the act, proof the man owned 2 masks. Once I'd have shot back, meeting you is my luckiest break. Now I only offered a perfunctory grin. He spooned kanji, gaze slipping into blank intervals. He never noticed the conspicuous band-aid on my finger. The old Leo, the one who caught every detail, would have made me promise not to be careless or to slave over a stove when we could hire help without blinking. After dishes he warned he'd be home late the next few nights and not to wait for dinner. I nodded, straightened his collar, knotted his tie, and slipped a travel-size liver supplement into his jacket pocket. He brushed my forehead with a kiss and sped away to Maxwell. I didn't idle, either. After breakfast I headed to the office. En route I had my assistant hire a private to tail Leo, gathering every shred of proof where Bella is concerned. Love may be a gamble, but the one who gives her heart isn't doomed to lose. My heart is real, and it won't be wasted on a thankless, wandering man. Lunchtime found me alone at the cafe downstairs, nursing a cup of coffee, food the last thing on my mind. Just then Harrison, the company VP, walked over and dropped into the seat across from me. Taylor, why aren't you eating? Something on your mind? I lifted my cup and gave a cold laugh. Hardly. I've been wedding dress shopping, figured I should drop a few pounds. Taylor, it kills me to see it. A talent like you tying the knot so young, why? I answered, a little too fast, because I found love, that's why. Harrison smiled. Wise men say, meet a patron, build your empire first, meet your soulmate, build your home first. But what if you meet both at once? Taylor, how do you choose? I grinned back. I'll take both. Only kids pick one, adults grab the whole menu. He chuckled again. Yet you can't have the fish and the bear's paw. If you had to drop one, which would it be? I hesitated. My feelings for Leo stood at a crossroads. One step forward and I'd be his wife in name only, loved or not. One step back and I'd still be me, maybe even VP of Northwest Maxwell. The bait was huge, yet I'd still sworn I'd choose love. Harrison patted my shoulder. As your boss and big brother, I hope you put career first. Men change their minds the way they change shirts. Thanks for the advice, boss. I'll think it over. His words felt loaded. Did he already know something? While I sat there zoning out, my phone buzzed. Private was calling. Hey, Ellis, they're meeting at the Seattle karaoke bar tonight, 8 sharp. Got it. I've got photos, want them? He asked, voice hesitant, afraid of hurting me. Send them. I need to see. The second we hung up, 30-odd shots popped onto my screen. Leo and Bella strolling, eating, hugging, laughing their heads off. My heart lurched, stomach cramping. This was the man I'd loved 5 years, out partying with another woman days before our wedding, arms slung over her shoulders, jokes flying. And stupid me, still waiting for the aisle. If I had to hurt, they'd bleed too. In love's game, no one walks away clean. 7 p.m. sharp, I walked into Seattle karaoke. Heavy makeup, a wig, and the server the assistant had bribed met me at the bar. She whispered, Ellis, I know you're here for your boyfriend, but please don't cost me my job, I need it. I patted her arm. Relax, sis. I just want to see what my man does when I'm not around. Reassured, she led me to the restroom and we swapped outfits. Done, she escorted me to Floor and announced I was covering her shift. She had an emergency. Floor winked that he understood. The assistant had already greased his palm. They briefed me, how to knock, how to greet client, the works. I nodded, then they parked me in the back kitchen until room 302's guests arrived. 20 minutes later someone popped in. 302 is here, take the fruit tray. Floor still looked nervous, so he decided to walk me up himself. Outside the door I heard voices. Leo, how'd you trick the fiancé into letting you throw Bella's welcome back bash? I told her I had to work late, what else? I knew that lazy baritone. Dude, you're getting married and you're still tangled up with Bella, seriously? Tangled? She's my first. She left the country, we lost touch, only reconnected lately. And Molly? She's hustled beside you for years, doesn't that count? My heart clawed up my throat. I needed to know where I ranked. Leo answered, light as ever, Molly. I only dated her because she was decent to me. Family, looks, body, totally average. If she hadn't resembled Bella by 70%, I wouldn't have looked twice. Lightning couldn't have stunned me harder. Tears spilled before I could stop them. So I'd been a stand-in all along. The joke was on me. Then why marry her? The friend pushed. Because I'm a nice guy, he half-joked. You don't dump the one who held you down once you hit it big. The table cracked up. First time I'd ever heard him describe me that way, cheap and disposable. Floor motioned it was time to enter, but my feet were concrete. He sighed, took the fruit tray, knocked, and went in alone. Inside, someone barked, server, your service sucks. We've been waiting 20 minutes for fruit. Sorry, we were swamped. Floor apologized. Leo cut in, enough. Bring the drinks and get out. Floor backed out bowing. I was still frozen. Ellis, next round is liquor, can you handle it? He whispered. I'd paid $2,000 for this tickets, no chickening out. I swiped the tears away. I've got it. We hauled the bottles they'd ordered and returned to 302. I knocked softly, stepped inside, set the liquor on the low table. They ignored me, chatter rising again. Leo, are you actually marrying Molly? She's crazy about you. Of course I'll marry her. Bella and I are history. But first still owns the top spot in my heart. The guys roared. Shameless, man. Yeah, I'm eating what's in my bowl while eyeing what's in the pot, right? They howled, not noticing my venomous glare. One finally frowned at me. Why are you still here? I gave a cold laugh, popped a bottle open, and appended it over Leo's head. As I said, the job's not done. Everyone gaped. Have you lost it? Leo snarled. Not even close, I shot back. Here's the deal, Leo, walk out with me now or the wedding is off. He squinted through the booze, finally recognizing me. Molly. Why the disguise? Courtesy of you, I sneered. The onlookers were still processing the fact that the drama they'd tuned in for had just electrocuted them. Leo dragged me aside. Molly, calm down. We'll talk at home. I'm in a business meeting, don't make a scene. Business? Looked more like group slander. News flash, I'm nobody's body double. The second I walk out that door we're finished, cut clean. He smirked, certain I was just jealous. Right then Bella stepped in. Sorry I'm late, everyone. A sultry female voice floated straight into my ear. To most men that voice might be a come-on, but to me it was pure nausea. The rest of the group looked awkward, not sure what to say. Leo and I turned at the same time and stared at Bella. She wore 10-centimeter red-soled stilettos, her hair in glossy waves and her lips painted traffic light red, an image of calculated seduction. Bella studied me with equal malice, eyes sparkling with challenge. Leo, who's this? Aren't you going to introduce us? Leo rushed to answer. This is my fiancée, Molly. Bella stepped up to me and offered her hand. So you're my future sister-in-law. Nice to meet you. I'm Leo's so-called. The statement reeked of green tea manipulation. I said nothing, didn't take her hand, just rolled my eyes. Leo looked mortified. Bella, don't mind her, we just had a little misunderstanding. He tugged the back of my shirt, signaling me to shake Bella's hand. Dream on, I thought. You want the old flame and the new one to make nice so you can keep both? Not happening. I pulled a cold smile. Leo, consider this official. You are no longer my fiancé, so don't dream of giving me orders. I spun toward the door, then turned back to Bella. Rowan, I heard you're divorced, no wonder guys dump you. I guess hitting on taken men is your hobby. Bella hadn't had time to fire back, but the grin slid off her face like melting wax. Oh, and I almost forgot, he's yours now. A perfect match, 2 dogs in heat. Behind me Leo roared, Molly, you've gone too far. Then came his hushed explanations to the others. I didn't care. I strode out without looking back. I left the karaoke lounge, drove straight to our shared loft. I didn't switch on a single light. Huddled in a corner of the living room, I finally lost it and burst into tears. Leo and I had met at a thesis defense. Back then he was still a bright college senior, bursting with sunshine and quick wit. We traded blows in the debate, evenly matched. Afterward he asked for my number so we could spar again. He started messaging me, first about coursework, then about a startup he wanted to launch after graduation. I gave him every idea I had, and we always agreed. I believed we were soulmates. Later he confessed he liked me, said I was classy and different from other girls. I was ecstatic. He was tall, handsome, and his parents were civil servants. I was just an average girl, pretty but not stunning, skinny, from a modest family. My only badge of honor was my straight A report card. I loved him and said yes, dreaming of a future together. As time passed he got busier. I looked after his life while juggling my own internship and thesis. Exhausted, I still felt life was full of promise. 2 years after graduation his startup had taken shape, and I had become a key player at my new company. For the next 3 years we both hustled hard. He kept telling me a girl didn't need to grind like that, he had my back for life. I refused to be anyone's accessory. I didn't want to be a clinging trumpet vine, I wanted to be a blooming jasmine whose fragrance came from itself. Recalling all this, I cried until my tears ran dry. I sobbed, heartbroken at how much I'd wasted on him. My very first love. The fairy tale of campus sweethearts to wedded bliss had been nothing but my own hypnosis. The dream was over. Cinderella was saying goodbye to the prince. Leo never came home, which didn't surprise me. Clearly Bella mattered more. I didn't. Anger knotted my stomach, an old problem. Whenever I'm furious the pain is crippling. I tried to stand and find antacids but couldn't move. I felt icy and drenched in cold sweat. With my last sliver of hope I called Leo. Weakly I whispered, "Leo, my stomach, can you take me to Evergreen?" He answered, "Molly, stop the drama. We're adults, don't make up illnesses." My breath caught, I was done. Then I heard flirty laughter on his end. "Leo, aren't you going home to coax your fiancée?" She looked pretty mad. Bella's sugar-coated poison again. "Relax, she'll cool off. I'll soothe her later, she's sensible, never stays mad more than 3 days." His voice was flat, like he was discussing a stranger. I gave a cold laugh. "So being reasonable is a crime now? Molly, you idiot. You almost threw away your career for this heartless jerk." With shaking fingers I hung up and dialed 911. When I woke at Evergreen, a surgeon had already patched the perforation. The first thing I saw was Lynn's worried face. "Molly, what happened? If the hospital hadn't called me I wouldn't even know you were in here." I forced a smile. "I'm okay." Lynn's eyes reddened. "I tried Leo, he powered his phone off." "Don't ever call him again," I said hoarsely. "We're done. His first is back." "You mean Bella?" Lynn gasped. I nodded painfully. Lynn exploded. "That bastard. You fought beside him through thick and thin, and the minute he makes it he runs back to his first. Where's the justice?" I spoke slowly, every word an effort. "I'm not giving him up. I'm the one throwing him away." Lynn gaped. "Honey, are you delirious? You helped build that empire. Why surrender now, hand the jerk to that witch on a silver platter?" Seeing her outrage, I knew she couldn't grasp it. To her I should battle Bella to the death, never yield. But wasn't Leo's own betrayal the real wound? Thinking of it made my chest throb. I couldn't go on. I changed the subject. "Lynn, I'm starving, go grab me some kanji." "On it." "Stay put." She tucked the blanket tight around me and slipped out. Minutes later she was back, swinging a paper breakfast sack. She peeled open the plastic lid, set the little tub of steaming kanji on the bedside tray, and spoon-fed me one slow mouthful at a time. Halfway through, the tears came. Regret, rage, exhaustion, every emotion I'd poured into that relationship for years rose up and choked me. "Quit crying, Molly. If you're done, we're done with him," she whispered, dabbing my cheeks. "I'm done. I'm cutting him off, clean break, no looking back." When the bowl was empty Lynn called my office, booked 3 days of sick leave, and camped out at Evergreen with me. The next morning Leo rang. "Where are you?" "The loft's deserted." Before I could answer, Lynn yanked the phone away and killed the call. "If you've decided to walk, then walk, no half measures." I nodded. "I don't keep cheaters. He makes me sick." "No regrets." "None." To keep me from caving, she blacklisted his number right there on my phone. A few days later the doctors signed my release. Lynn drove me to her apartment and told me to crash as long as I needed. I dialed Leo from my new burner. "I've been on a business trip. Don't try to find me." He bought it, just reminded me to stay safe. I called private next and doubled the retainer. Tail Leo 24/7, every latte, every hotel keycard, every kiss. The nightly envelopes began to look the same. Leo and Bella strolling downtown, Leo and Bella clinking wineglasses at our old bistro, Leo and Bella checking into the same waterfront suite we'd christened together. I didn't double over this time. I studied the shots like quarterly reports, cold, detached, already strategizing. If that's the life he wants, I'll gift wrap it. Time to launch the plan. As soon as I could stand without wobbling, I rang Chase, Leo's nemesis. He sounded surprised to hear my voice, but agreed to coffee that afternoon. I laid out the betrayal in 3 crisp sentences. My enemy's enemy is my partner. We shook on it. I slid a manila folder across the table, every selfie, every hotel timestamp, every humiliating frame of Leo and Bella. Chase flicked through the stack. "Emery, you positive you want to light this fuse?" I smiled. "Positive. Why wouldn't I? He's still your fiancé on paper." Morgan. Correction, he was. Chase exhaled. Jordan had the world in his hand and traded it for tinsel. I shrugged. Sometimes you lose a horse and find a kingdom. We left it there. I walked out first. Back at our shared loft I packed with surgical precision, clothes, files, chargers, the corkscrew I bought in Lisbon. My eyes snagged on the couple photo from 5 years ago. Sunburned grins, Pike Place Market behind us, the future wide open. I lifted the frame, smashed it against the coffee table, ground the glass shards deeper with my stiletto, 2 deliberate twists, then strode out, door slamming behind me. That night Lynn swung by with grocery bags of hot pot fixings. We boiled broth at the coffee table like broke sophomores again, dunking sliced beef and cabbage while steam fogged her tiny windows. College memories flooded back, 2 scholarship kids sharing 1 minimum wage paycheck, splitting a single spicy pot on birthdays because we couldn't afford 2. We clinked cheap beer cans, tears and laughter blending into the broth. Her phone buzzed mid-bite. "Caller ID, Leo." She hovered, thumb wavering. I nodded, answer. She hit speaker. "Lynn, where's Molly? Is she at your place?" "Nope." "What's wrong?" "We had a stupid fight. Bella's back in town, so I showed her around. Now Molly's gone and she's threatening to cancel the wedding, just a tantrum, right? Girls don't vanish over nothing. Whatever you did, it cut deep. You really haven't seen her? Wish I could help, but no. Well, if you do, tell her to come home. The ceremony's around the corner and she still hasn't picked her dress." His voice cracked, equal parts exhaustion and panic. "Got it," Lynn said, ending the call. She turned to me. "So, what's next?" "Next. We burn the king's castle to the ground. That's my girl." She raised her glass. "To scorched earth." We clinked and drank until the stockpot ran dry. Next morning I strode toward the office, latte in hand, and found Leo blocking the lobby doors. Gaunt, bloodshot eyes, he'd clearly been camping in his guilt. "Molly, why disappear? Why move out without a word?" he demanded. I kept my voice ice level. "Let's get this straight. I'm not disappearing. I'm choosing not to waste another minute on a fraud." He flinched. "It was a lapse. Bella's just an old friend who needed help. Forgive me, please." I gave a cold laugh. "Say that again like you actually believe it." I reached into my tote and whipped out the glossy stack. Photos fanned across his chest and fluttered to the marble floor, Bella on his lap, Bella leaving his hotel room at 3 a.m. "Molly, don't do this. 5 years, the invitations are printed. And you cashed in our future for a fling. I'm done negotiating, Leo. I have a company to run." I stepped around him and marched through the turnstile, heels echoing while he stood frozen amid the scattered evidence. Upstairs I signed the promotion documents that made me general manager of the Northwest Division. Ellis beamed across the mahogany desk. "Taylor, what changed your mind?" I was prepping another pitch. "Opportunity knocked," I answered. "You know I'm wired for the climb. That's why I'm handing you the keys. Don't prove me wrong." "I won't." I turned to leave when he called after me. "Molly, I heard wedding bells, date set?" I expect an invite. I paused at the door. Intel's outdated, boss. The event's been permanently cancelled. Single life suits me, only fools leap into bonfires. Before he could pry further, I shut the door softly and headed for the elevator, already drafting my inaugural regional strategy. That night when I got home, I found Lynn and Leo in a shouting match outside my door. Lynn, things between Molly and me are already a mess. Can't you put in a good word for me instead of pouring fuel on the fire? Leo, get this straight, you made this bed. You really think a few nice words from me could fix it? I know I screwed up. These past 2 nights, the second I walk through the door I feel sick. I keep replaying every little memory, and I know I failed her. Sorry. One lightweight sorry and you expect forgiveness? Who do you think Molly is, some toy you can toss aside and pick up whenever you feel like? Leo shook his head, anguished. No, never, I didn't. That night he told you to leave with her, why didn't you go? While she was rushed to Evergreen with a perforated ulcer at midnight, you were flirting with another woman. If you were in her shoes, could you forgive yourself? What? She was hospitalized. When? How come nobody told me? Leo stared at Lynn in blank confusion. I walked up and cut their conversation short. Leo, stop haunting me, and stop bothering my friends. Let's spare each other the last shred of dignity, all right? He burst into tears and knelt in front of me. Molly, I'm sorry, I hurt you. Punish me any way you want, just don't leave me. My face was stone cold. Fine. One chance, sign our loft over to me, kick Bella out of Maxwell, and I'll consider it. Leo wiped his tears instantly, brightening like a dying man handed a lifeline. Deal, Molly. Whatever you ask, I'll do. The next morning we headed straight to the registrar and transferred the deed. Leo assured me he'd already fired Bella. Then Private called. Bella was throwing a tantrum in the lobby. Apparently Leo really had given her the axe. Leo asked gingerly when I might move back in. I shrugged. Depends on my mood. Realizing he'd been played, he stammered, Molly, you're not jerking me around, are you? I gave a cold laugh. Took you long enough, yeah, I'm jerking you around. His face twisted, he spoke with effort. Molly, why? Why can't you forgive me? Can't forgive you? You tell me. He shook his head, lost. You're a disloyal dog. You've already bitten me once, so wag your tail all you want, I won't glance back, and I sure as hell won't take you in. I didn't technically cheat, we just ate and shopped together. Leo, you're an adult, own your actions. Emotional cheating isn't cheating. You guys figure a little straying earns unlimited mercy. News flash, Molly is nobody's stand-in. Know why my parents named me Molly? They wanted me to have love as pure as jasmine, and to stay spotless like the flower. Leo, you're unworthy of my love. His face crumpled, eyes almost hollow with despair. I turned to leave, he lunged to grab me, unwilling to let go. His phone rang. His assistant barked that Maxwell was in chaos, his affair was trending, clients were calling to cancel contracts, and he needed to get back now. Leo stalked off, face dark. That night Lynn and I toasted. I'd taken back my house. A disloyal man can hit the road, but the place I saved every penny to buy. Not handing that over. I sanded every floorboard myself, of course I reclaimed it. Amen. You're fierce, fabulous, and flat out awesome. We clinked glasses. Drink up, this round's your send-off. To my girl. May you rise, shine, get rich, get slim, get dates. We drank ourselves silly and slept on the rug. I woke at dawn and left for the Northwest. 3 years later. I'm now Sam of the group's Northwest Division, career skyrocketing, invincible. Lynn keeps me posted on Leo's downhill slide. The day I left, he drifted back to Maxwell like a ghost. Seeing the shambles, he lost the will to fight. Eventually Maxwell went bankrupt. He pestered Lynn for my whereabouts. She told him I'd headed northwest. Leo hated himself, too late, for losing the one who'd loved him most. He ended up doing food delivery gigs, tasting every shade of human warmth and cold. One afternoon he spotted Bella on the street, arm in arm with some grey-haired sugar daddy, still draped in designer labels. Leo charged over, screaming that she'd wrecked his love and reduced him to this. Bella shrugged. You deserved it. Only then did Leo realize that all that first nonsense wasn't worth a dime. One day Leo waited in a fast food joint for his next pickup. On the flat screen, there I was, guest starring on a reality show for entrepreneurs. Radiant, poised, I looked like a different woman, confidence to spare. Even prettier now, my smile brighter than ever. Sam, as a high flyer, do you have regrets? I grinned. Yes, thinking I'd found love and wasting 5 years on a man who didn't deserve a second of them. The host turned to the male guest beside me, Chase. Morgan, what's your secret to success? Simple, meet the right woman. Some guys meet her and still miss the ride. They're standing in front of the elevator to happiness, then hit pause and stay stuck on the ground floor forever. Chase glanced at me, we exchanged a smile. Leo listened, tears streaming. Thanks for listening. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate this story? If you liked it, give it a thumbs up and share with friends. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe for more gripping tales. See you next time.
On the 10th year of our romance, Julian and I finally ended our long-distance relationship and announced our engagement. Halfway through the engagement gala, my fiancé's executive assistant suddenly rushed on stage and dropped to her knees, wailing, "Hawthorne, I can't watch you be deceived. Your fiancée never studied medicine abroad, she was an escort." While the entire room gasped and Julian looked at me with disgust, a riot of colored comments drifted across my vision. "Quinn incoming. The secretary's just projecting, the video star is literally her own face-swapped self, dead. The cheater's still helping her up? She tested HIV positive yesterday, latent phase already over. Run, Vivian. Don't explain. Lock these two disasters together and let them rot." Julian's hand rose to slap me. "Vivian, you make me sick." I stared at the Crimson AIDS countdown overlay flashing above his head, 3, 2, 1, and barely swallowed a laugh. I took 3 calm steps back and even considerately offered him a tissue. "Since you believe her, I'll skip wearing this cuckold scandal. Oh, and take her to Riverdale for the free meds. Wait too long and it'll be too late." Julian ignored the tissue. He slapped the paper out of my hand. "Still throwing shade, Vivian? Serena risked everything to expose you, and you curse her with disease? How twisted are you?" Serena stayed on her knees, crying prettily, the skin scraped raw. She tilted her head, seemingly innocent eyes pinning me. "I'm sorry, sis, I never wanted to ruin your love, but Hawthorne has been so good to me, I can't let him marry trash. I've seen the clips. Same hairstyle swap, but that mole on your chest proves it." The crowd erupted. Whispers flew like needles. Who knew? Studying abroad was really selling herself. A family like Hawthorne can't take a filthy bride. The assistant's loyal, daring to say what no one else would. I watched coldly. Over Julian's head the red ticker still blinked. "Fam, I swear he just touched her hand, no wash," then pawed the bride's face, barf. "This PA's a certified century killer, fled home after burning bridges and now plays pure. Don't defend yourself, girl. They won't buy it, just let the garbage marry itself." I inhaled, forcing down the nausea. Since heaven granted me these subtitles, I'd be a fool to waste them. I met Julian's eyes, my gaze flat as still water. 10 years, and you trust a 3-month secretary over me? His face twisted in revulsion, as if looking at me stained him. He lifted Serena gently, like fragile china. "Trust you? With proof slapping me in the face? Serena's innocent, why would she slander you? You splurged abroad yet barely touched the card I gave you. Found yourself a sugar daddy, selling your body for pocket money, huh?" Serena collapsed against him, trembling. "Don't blame her, Hawthorne. Maybe life forced her hand. Overseas luxuries are pricey, vanity might lead anyone astray. Let sis take a full panel STD test to prove she's clean, then forgive her. A textbook retreat to advance, brand me a vain whore and hint I'm diseased." Julian lost it. He jabbed a finger at the doors, veins bulging. "A test? She deserves that? The Hawthorne threshold isn't for filth like her. Engagement's off. Get out, now." Keep your germs away from Serena and me. Security closed in, shoving me toward the exit. I stumbled, nearly falling. Julian didn't help. Instead, he shielded Serena, as though I were the plague. I steadied myself and smiled at the man I once loved, now repulsive. Fine, Julian. Remember every word. You ended this. You threw me out. When you're kneeling one day, don't beg me to look back. He snorted, contempt dripping. Beg you? In your dreams. I'd stay single forever before glancing at trash like you again. Now scram, you make me sick. I turned and left without hesitation. Behind me Serena cooed, "Don't be angry, Hawthorne. It'll break my heart. To celebrate your freedom, let's have drinks at my place tonight." I just learned cocktails. The Oracle feed exploded. Don't go. That's a death flag. She's ovulating, baby trap incoming. Let them be. Respect destiny, skip the rescue complex. Perfect match, rotten stock and HIV source. I kept walking, even whistling inwardly. Drink up, one less parasite in the world. I returned to the penthouse Julian and I had shared. Photos on the wall, matching slippers by the door, curtains I'd chosen with care. No tears, no tantrums. I simply pulled out the largest suitcase and began packing. What's mine stays mine, he keeps nothing. Halfway through, the front door burst open. Julian strutted in with Serena on his arm. Spotting my luggage, he frowned in distaste. Still dawdling? Planning to squat. Hurry up and leave, Serena's moving in tonight. I froze, staring. This is my apartment. The deed, inherited from my parents, carries only my name. He paid for the remodel, but the unit itself is mine. Julian sneered and tossed a folder onto the table. Look carefully, this is the gift agreement you signed before you flew out. You said it was to prove your love for me, that you were putting the penthouse in my name. What's the matter? Been spreading your legs so long your brain rotted too? I picked up the document, my hand wouldn't stop shaking. It was from 3 years ago, the night before I left for Stanford. He had cooed that he wanted me to focus on my studies, that he'd manage my stateside assets, and had me sign a stack of papers. Out of absolute trust, I hadn't read a single line. So he'd already been setting me up back then? Serena nestled against him like a prize rooster. She swept her gaze around the room and wrinkled her nose. Hawthorne, this decor is ancient, nothing like your taste. And this couch? God knows how many bodies have rubbed on it, it's filthy. After living in whatever dorms overseas, who knows what germs she dragged back. I'll have it all hauled out tonight and replaced, okay? Julian brushed the tip of her nose fondly. Whatever you want. Furniture that thing touched is bad luck. Trash the lot, pick whatever you like. My heart turned to ice. 10 years of my life, fed to a dog. Fresh Oracle lines drifted across my vision. Shameless. Straight up fraud. FL don't fold. Record. Save evidence. Bitch has a cut on her hand, was bleeding a second ago, and she just stroked the sofa. Holy Quinn. She's stuffing the bloody band-aid between the cushions. I narrowed my eyes. Sure enough, Serena's finger sported a band-aid with a crimson dot. While Julian stepped away to pour water, she pretended to pet the couch and quietly wedged the bloody band-aid deep into the seam. Stealthy, vicious. If I accidentally brushed it, or sat on it, the fallout would be unthinkable. I choked back the urge to lunge and claw her face. Not yet. I had no proof she was HIV positive. Saying it aloud would only sound like a curse. I would wait. Wait for the day they swallowed their own poison. I snapped the suitcase shut and pulled up the handle. Since you love this penthouse so much, it's yours. Enjoy living in peace. I weighed the word peace like a lead ingot. Serena's expression flickered, as if she'd caught a whisper of menace, but she quickly slipped back into her smug mask. Don't trip on your way out, sis. If you ever end up homeless, maybe beg Hawthorne, he's kind, he might toss you a crust. Julian walked over with his glass, not even glancing my way. Why waste words on that? Get lost. Don't wreck my alone time with Serena. I dragged my luggage out without looking back. The door slammed like a gunshot behind me. Serena's coquettish giggle chased after. "Hawthorne, you're so bad." I stood at the elevator, staring at the sealed door. Silently, I counted. "Enjoy every second. This is your last carnival." After leaving the penthouse, I checked into the Grand for the night. At dawn, I headed to Hawthorne. Not to beg, to resign. When I'd returned from Stanford to lighten Julian's load, I joined Hawthorne's medical device subsidiary as our director. Now that the mask was shredded, the job was untenable. The instant the lobby doors slid open, the air curdled. The receptionist who used to chirp "Good morning," Jamie, kept her eyes on her phone, lips curled in contempt. Employees whispered and pointed as I passed. "There she is, e-girl VIP. Who knew?" Ice queen by day, back alley freak by night. Word is Hawthorne dumped her. Secretary blares the upgrade. Serves her right. A worn-out toy thinking she could enter Hawthorne? I kept my face blank and walked to the elevators. I'd expected the poison. Serena would have paid trolls to flood every company chat before the engagement gala fiasco cooled. Ding, doors parted. Serena poured out in a skin-tight scarlet dress, clinging to Julian's arm. "Of course," she gasped theatrically. "Oh my, if it isn't Jamie? Kicked out with nowhere to crash, so you came to mooch free AC?" Julian halted, looking down his nose at me. Disgust dripped from every syllable. "Vivian, you dare show your face here? Come to grovel for your job? Listen up, Hawthorne doesn't bankroll leeches, let alone public disgraces. Scram before I call security to toss you." I met his glare with ice. "I'm here to process my resignation, and to collect my personal belongings from our D." Serena unhooked herself, click-clacked over, and yanked my collar. "Personal stuff? Sweetie, planning to hawk company secrets? No more Hawthorne sugar daddy, can't fall back on your old trade, you must be desperate for cash." Her crimson mouth brushed my cheek, reeking of perfume and something sour metal. Oracle exploded in red banners. "Don't let her touch you. Virus under those nails." She was puking blood in the restroom, didn't wash. On purpose. "She wants to scratch you." I jerked back and slapped her hand away. "Don't touch me." Serena toppled backward, landing on the marble. "Ah. It hurts." Tears flooded as she cradled her hand, an angry welt already blooming. I'd barely used force, but her illness left skin paper thin. Julian shoved me hard. "Vivian, have you lost it? You attack her in front of me?" I hit the wall, spine jarring. Julian helped her up, roaring. "Apologize to Serena, now. Emery! On your knees." A ring of gawkers thickened. Everyone waited for blood. Serena wilted against him, voice frail. "Hawthorne, forget it. Jamie didn't mean it." Maybe I was too blunt, hit a sore spot. "Just hand over the RD key and I'll let it go." The RD key? That room held every core patent I'd spent years bleeding for. The crystallized some of my late-night prototypes and grant proposals. And she planned to walk out with it under her arm? The oracle scrolled across my vision. "This green tea which is gonna pawn the FL's patents to a rival firm for drug money. Julian the blockhead, he's helping count the cash from his own coffin. Don't hand it over, girl, that IP is your ace in the hole." I straightened, knuckles brushing the collar Julian had wrinkled. My gaze slid over the two conspirators fused at the hip. "I'll give you the keycard," I said. "But Julian, think hard first. This woman doesn't just want your money. She wants your life. Hand her the steering wheel and you're digging your own grave." Julian barked out a laugh like I'd told the best joke in Riverdale. "My life? Vivian, quit the scare tactics and the jealous spin. Serena's loyal, 10,000 times more real than your plastic saint act. Fork over the key, then get lost." He snatched the keycard and the matching brass key from my palm and hurled them at Serena. She caught them midair, triumph blooming across her face. A smile dripping hunger and venom. "Thank you for your trust, Hawthorne. I'll be sure to take extra good care of our D." She bit down on extra good, eyes flicking to me in open taunt. "You've lost. Utterly. watching Julian shield her erased the last ripple in my chest. If you insist on sprinting toward the cliff, I'll gift you the tailwind. 3 days after I cleaned out my desk, my phone vibrated. Tonight's charity gala, you'll be there, Julian snapped, voice edged with iron. Our engagement was public, a sudden no-show tanks the share price. Show up, smile, recant that little misunderstanding, and I might cut you a severance check. Clear up the misunderstanding? Translation, stone me in the town square and cement the guilt. Still, I agreed. Because the oracle flashed. Go. Mandatory plot drop ahead. Serena's planning a headline-grabbing stunt tonight. She's gonna spike the champagne with her own blood. Last-ditch psycho move, and the exact moment she self-immolates. The gala was staged at the Grand, downtown's Crystal Palace. I wore a black sheath so plain it vanished against the marble. No diamonds, no loned Harry Winston, just skin and strategy. The moment I crossed the threshold, cameras swiveled toward Julian and Serena center stage. She glowed in crimson silk cut to the tailbone, my engagement diamonds glittering at her throat like spoils of war. Spotting me, she linked arms with Julian and glided over. Oh, look, the ex-fiancé actually showed. Thought you'd be too humiliated to face decent people. Her voice carried, heads pivoted, pupils widening with hunger for fresh scandal. Julian leaned in, breath hot against my ear. When we're called on stage, you'll say the footage was a drunken prank, you've repented. Take full blame, keep Hawthorne's name spotless. I studied him, incredulous. Let me get this straight, you want me to confess to imaginary crimes on a mic, and you call that clarification? His face darkened. Don't push me, Vivian. Play along and the payout keeps you comfortable for years. Fight me and you'll never work in medtech again. A waiter drifted by with a silver tray of flutes. Serena's eyes sparked. She reached, then let her hand slip with theatrical precision. Crystal exploded against terrazzo, red wine bled across the floor in glistening shards. Ah! Serena yelped, folding to her knees, fingers clamped around her ankle. Hawthorne, I think I'm cut. Julian dropped beside her, panic cracking his voice. Where? How deep? She lifted a tear-slick face toward me, finger trembling as it pointed. She shoved me, Miss Sterling shoved me just now. I know she hates me for taking Julian, but it was an accident, I swear. Murmurs ricocheted, vicious, attacking someone in public. Jealousy turned her rotten. Julian sprang up and slammed a palm into my shoulder. Vivian! Enough! Emery, apologize and bandage her. Now. I staggered back a step, then locked my knees. From this angle I caught the glint between Serena's fingers. A razor shard she'd palmed mid-fall, already kissing her own flesh. Crimson beads raced down her wrist. The oracle feed blazed blood red. Quinn! Quinn! She's hunting for skin-to-skin contact. Biohazard incoming. Do not let that blood touch you, game over if it does. Serena extended her dripping hand, voice quivering in practiced falsetto. Sis, I don't blame you, just help me up, please. It hurts so bad, all I need is a hand. Julian clamped iron fingers around my wrist, yanking me toward her. Deaf now? Help her! She's bleeding, if it scars, I'll ruin you. His grip ground bone, momentum hurled me off balance. Serena's eyes flashed wild elation as her infected blood angled straight for my cheek. 10 centimeters. 5. Vivian, on your knees, repent. At the last heartbeat I pistoned my knee up, ramming it into the soft pit behind Julian's kneecap. Every ounce of rage from the past week poured into the blow. A crack like snapping wood. Julian screamed, torso pitching forward, crashing full weight onto Serena's outstretched arms. The shard in her grip slashed across his face as they collided, her palm smearing a crimson handprint across his lips. Blood seeped between his teeth, painting his gums. The ballroom froze in cathedral silence. Oracle's banner scrolled neon green confetti. Perfect! That kick was poetry. Holy crap, he just drank the contagion cocktail. Congrats, Hawthorne, HIV Express delivery fulfilled. Karma's a beautiful bee asterisk. I pivoted backward, widening the safety zone, and let the cameras feast. I pulled a bottle of medical-grade alcohol spray from my bag, one I'd stashed there hours ago, and blasted the air around me like I was running a biohazard Deccan. The two still writhing on the marble hadn't worked out what was happening. Julian tasted iron. Instinctively he licked his lip. What the hell? He shoved Serena away, swiped his mouth, and stared at the crimson streaking his palm. Serena, dazed from the blow, saw his blood-smeared face and shrieked. Hawthorne! Are you okay? I didn't mean. She reached to blot the mess, then noticed her own hand gushing, the cut so deep bone glinted beneath. I stood a few paces off, watching the farce unfold, voice crisp enough to carry to the farthest harpist. Julian, stop scrubbing. Get to a hospital. Wait any longer and even the PEP regimen won't save you. He froze, eyes snapping to me with rabid hatred. Vivian! You kicked me? What did you just say? What PEP? I lifted my phone and opened the PDF the Oracle audience had emailed seconds earlier, Serena's full-panel STD test. With a tap I beamed it onto the 80-foot LED wall above the orchestra. Take a good look, everyone. Serena's HIV viral load is off the charts. She's already in the symptomatic stage. The screen glowed, positive, name, photo, driver's license number, all hers. The ballroom detonated into screams. Sycophants who'd been toasting the couple moments ago recoiled as if she were radioactive. Holy shit, AIDS? My God, she clinked my glass. Did Julian just swallow her blood? Dry heaves rippled through the crowd. Someone vomited into a champagne flute. Julian's face bleached parchment white. He turned to Serena, pupils trembling. Say, Serena? Tell me this isn't real. She was past pretense, scrabbling to cover the LED, fingers inches too short. No. It's fake, Vivian photoshopped it. Hawthorne, believe me, I'm perfectly healthy. I'm just a little anemic lately. I laughed, low and thin. Anemic? Then you won't mind if one of the doctors here draws a quick vial. This is a charity gala, after all, and we have 3 laureates on the guest list. A silver-haired physician stepped forward, eyes grim behind half-moon glasses. No need. Look at the dermal necrosis around the laceration, the cervical lymphadenopathy, classic immune collapse. Hawthorne, for your own safety, proceed to Riverdale immediately and start the PEP regimen. His verdict was the guillotine blade. Julian's knees wobbled, bile surged. He shoved Serena away and doubled over, retching until strings of yellow bile swung from his lips as though he could expel the tainted blood along with the liquor. Serena crashed into a table leg, shrieking, then crawled back and clamped his ankle. Hawthorne! Don't listen. I love you. What does illness matter if we love each other? You promised to care for me forever. Love was ashes. Fear ruled now. Julian yanked free and drove his Oxford toe into her sternum. Get off me, you bitch. You tried to kill me, why didn't you warn me? He kicked again, harder. I'll kill you, I swear I'll kill you. Serena curled, then uncurled like a baited badger. Row in. If I go down, we go down together. I'm already rotting, one cushion for the grave is fine by me. She lunged, fingernails clawing for his eyes. Glass exploded, gilt chairs toppled. The fairy tale lovers were rabid animals, ripping hair, skin, sanity, while 500 phones recorded every frame. The Oracle feed went berserk in my retina. Popcorn worthy. Better than HBO. Dog eat dog, fur everywhere. Julian's rep is roadkill, RIP. Queen Vivian just checkmated from orbit. I watched from the perimeter, indifferent. They'd scripted their own ruin, I'd merely posted the reviews. Minutes later Detective Morris strode in, badge flashing. I'd called in the complaint, felony reckless exposure. Paramedics followed, wheeling Julian out on a stretcher, arms flayed raw, throat convulsing with aftershock. They cuffed Serena as she shrieked obscenities, mascara carving tarry rivers down her cheeks. Vivian! I'll haunt you from hell. I gave a pageant wave. First make it to hell, darling. Till then, enjoy cell block C. Julian's gaze met mine for a final instant, hollow, pleading. I turned before he could speak, coat swirling like a curtain fall. Hawthorne, best of luck. Hope the PEP regimen works. Though, the odds aren't exactly rosy. By dawn the hashtags dominated every feed. Hashtag Hawthorne CEO AIDS scare. Hashtag psychosecretary viral rampage. Hashtag gala brawl of the century. Hawthorne stock opened limit down, circuit breakers triggered. The board convened in panic, unanimously sacking Julian. Lenders called loans, partners fled. And I, designated villain turned spotless victim, walked away spotlit by sympathy, patents clutched to my chest, the empire's keys already warming in my palm. The video that had slandered me was restored to the truth by a tech guru, actually the Oracle. The original clip was Serena herself. Her messy private life overseas was ripped bare, right down to her underwear. Netizens flocked to my socials to apologize. Sorry, sis, we were blind and blamed the wrong person. Sis, you're so badass. That scumbag should have been dumped long ago. Please write a book, teach us how to spot scumbags and green tea bitches. I didn't reply. I had bigger fish to fry. Namely, closing the net. Julian had been ousted, but he still held Hawthorne equity stakes. That was his last lifeline. And I was going to leave him with nothing. I reached out to the contacts I'd cultivated inside Hawthorne and the major shareholders who'd always believed in me. Using my insider knowledge of Hawthorne R&D projects and the core patents I now controlled, I began vacuuming up scattered shares at rock-bottom prices. I knew Julian needed cash, fast. Medical bills, legal fees, plugging the company's holes. He would unload stock. Sure enough, within days a broker called. Someone was desperate to dump Hawthorne shares. The price was absurdly low. I bought every last share without blinking. By the time Julian realized it, I had become Hawthorne's largest individual shareholder. I sat in the corner office that had once been his, spinning the leather chair, watching the traffic crawl below. A banner drifted across my vision. Congratulations, FL, achievement unlocked, Queen returns. Next up, beat the drowning dog. Can't wait for the scene where Julian kneels and begs. Julian was discharged. Side effects of the PEP regimen had melted the flesh off his bones. He looked gaunt and deranged. With only a 50% success rate, he was still trapped in the window period waiting game. Every day was torment. He came looking for me while I was in a board meeting. Security blocked him at the door. The once untouchable CEO now lacked even entry rights. I told them to let him in. The moment he saw me, he dropped to his knees. Vivian, I was wrong. I really know I was wrong. That which blinded me. I love you. For the sake of 10 years together, save me, save Hawthorne. He sobbed, reaching for the hem of my skirt. I stepped back in disgust. Hawthorne, have some dignity. We no longer have any relationship. As for Hawthorne, it's now my company, none of your concern. Julian looked up, stunned. Your company? You're the majority shareholder? You looted my shares while the house was on fire? I smiled down at him. This is called business strategy. Looting is crude. Weren't you the one who told me to get lost? I'm back, only now I'm the boss. Julian's face turned ashen. He finally understood he hadn't just lost a woman. He'd lost the entire world. He snapped. Vivian! You venomous bitch. You knew all along, didn't you? You knew Serena was sick and kept quiet. You wanted me dead. How vicious. I crouched, meeting his bloodshot eyes. Vicious? Who tried to destroy me completely? Who wanted to throw me in prison? Who pushed me toward that infected woman? I gave you a chance. At the engagement gala, I handed you a tissue and told you to go to the Riverdale Department of Health. You slapped it away. You chose to trust her, to hold her in your arms. You picked the road, now crawl it on your knees. Julian opened his mouth, but no sound came. Regret gnawed his heart like a viper. He remembered the tissue he'd swatted aside, his only lifeline, severed by his own hand. Ah! He clutched his head and howled in despair. 1 month later, Serena's sentence came down: intentional transmission of infectious disease, plus defamation, trade secret theft, and more. Combined, 8 years. Given her condition, she'll serve it in the state prison hospital. They say she lost her mind in court, muttering, "I'm Hawthorne. I'm the dynasty's young madam." As for Julian, his final test result came back positive. That single bite of blood that night had been unavoidable. When he heard, he fell apart. He barricaded himself in a rented studio, seeing no one, drinking himself senseless day after day. The Hawthorne parents collapsed from the scandal and were hospitalized. The once glorious Hawthorne dynasty lay in ruins. I stood on the top floor of the Hawthorne Tower, gazing over the city. Sunlight poured over me, warm and golden. My phone buzzed. A news alert. Former Hawthorne CEO Julian dies of multi-organ failure after alcohol abuse, doctors unable to save him. I swiped it away without opening. Wasting time on an irrelevance isn't worth it. The Oracle feed drifted past one last time. Mission complete. Confetti. Queen reigns alone. Career is everything. Farewell. May the you in a parallel universe stay happy forever. The floating words faded into nothing. I knew my had expired, but it no longer mattered. I'd grown powerful enough to steer my own life. My assistant knocked. Cameron, the board meeting is set for this afternoon. I straightened my collar and gave a confident smile. Let's go. A new journey has just begun. Thanks for listening. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate this story? If you liked it, please like and share with friends. We look forward to your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe for more gripping tales. See you next time.
My boyfriend was quietly crying right before the awards ceremony. The trending tag was buzzing with theories. What kind of academic conundrum could reduce the school's golden boy to tears? It wasn't until I stepped into the auditorium that the still-sniffling guy tackled me in a hug. Wifey, I missed you so much. Why'd you take forever to come back? The iceberg valedictorian persona imploded live on stage. The whole internet screamed that the genius was nothing but love brain. The first time I ever spoke to Julian was in the AV club. The top 10 seniors were broadcasting study tips, and I'd timed it perfectly. The instant Julian, rank 1, finished his segment, I burst in and grabbed his hand. Julian, whatever you do, do not fall in love. Romance nukes GPAs, torpedoes futures, trust me, kid, don't like anyone. I delivered the sermon with the gravity of a Shakespearean death scene, practically tearful with despair. The entire studio fell silent. Julian's glacier face never flickered. Got it, Serena, he said into the hot mic. I strolled out certain the mission was on track, until Riverdale's group chat detonated. Only someone in the remedial track would warn the valedictorian not to date on live air. Serena's a legend, basically a confession in reverse. Wait, Julian answered her dead serious while still on air. New ship dropped? Ship nothing. Julian belongs to goddess Bianca, keep Serena out of it. Who even is she to forbid him dating? 100+ messages later I knew I'd stepped in it. Tessa, my ride or die who'd been planted to help, texted. They were wearing body mics. Whole school heard you. Cool. Let me die quietly of mortification. When the dean lookalike principal hauled me in, he asked why I'd said any of that. What was I supposed to tell him? Your star pupil is one love brain episode away from imploding reality? Honestly, it's my own fault. 1,000 years ago every earthly dynasty submitted a millennium plan to celestial HQ. Clear labor divisions, men build empires, women keep hearths. We deities had to draft fate charts accordingly. When the task list reached me, chairman's last apprentice, only one duty remained: dispense love brain, hopelessly in love edition. Piece of cake. Sprinkle appropriate doses per chart, 99% went to women. I still remember the Prime Minister's daughter who, dosed, fell head over hoe for digging wild vegetables. Salary, bottomless ambrosia, 6 insurances plus 2 pensions, room and board, even wisdom tooth extraction covered. Dream gig. I giggled my way through 999 celestial years, 1 year shy of promotion and double salary, then the palace split into factions. Some argued the plan was outdated, others clung to the 1,000-year contract. While silver-haired hotties yelled, Tessa and I sat on the sidelines, cracking sunflower seeds and multitasking. Too engrossed, I kept scooping, and accidentally dumped an entire shift's worth of love brain into one guy. A guy. I soared through the bickering council, flipped open his file, and watched the golden ink destiny dissolve until only male lead remained. I'd rewritten the protagonist of a microverse. Banking on my personal no calamity hex, I begged Chancellor not to dismember me. Half an hour later Professor Orion booted me to Earth. Serena, fix Julian's fate chart and realign the timeline, or the world shatters and you're eternally exiled. So yeah, I'm more terrified of him dating than his own mother is. Since enrolling as his classmate, I've tried every angle to keep him heart-whole. Operation Befriend Julian failed because Earth's STEM curriculum is eldritch horror. Way worse than Orion's seminar, Love, 101 Methods. He's in honors, I'm in academic purgatory. Finding him during pep rally means bulldozing through 1,820 heads. Master, it's not disobedience, STEM is literally lethal. The night I resolved to quit, I dreamed Julian's original match, Bianca, PUA'd him into a sham marriage, his career tanked, depression hit, and he jumped off a roof. His ghost boycotted the underworld, filed appeal after appeal blaming my clerical error, demanding Celestial dock my paycheck and retirement fund. Hell no, my pension. I jolted awake, vaulted from the top bunk, and shook Tessa awake. Our plan worked 1/3, Julian now knows my name. It backfired 1/3, the entire campus thinks I'm in love with him. The final third, Julian just handed me his physics notes and said, if you really don't want me dating, stick around and supervise, so you'll know I'm not lying. It sounds fishy, yet logical. I grabbed the sacred notes and crammed. After shedding hair number 18,672 and facing the track selection form, I finally admitted defeat, sobbed, and trudged to the honors lab. Julian, help. I can't crack STEM, I can't stay in your class to police you. He brushed my tears away with his thumb. Then what are you good at? History? Geography? Instant waterworks shut down. Humanities track. I aced that stuff. I mean, a millennium-old goddess better rock history and geography. Then don't force it, he said. Pick the humanities track. A little worried about my pension, I asked, but you and I aren't in the same class, what if? It'll be fine. I promised you back then. That snippet of conversation blew up again. OMG, honors track people, are you sure Julian and Bianca are a couple? I swear he dotes on Serena way harder. Right? The straight-A king even lent Serena his notes. Who here has ever laid eyes on the valedictorian's notes? Bianca and Julian never actually said they were together, did they? Don't care. Prom queen and king are endgame. Are you sure Serena isn't scheming? She keeps saying she doesn't want Julian dating, yet she sticks to him like glue. I couldn't resist clapping back. To whoever's slandering strangers, may every job you ever hold come without a 401k. Things began veering in a weird direction, but my original mission was to save the male lead from his love brain. No, abort. I have to stick to the main quest. Eyes on the leads. Except those two haven't even shared a room alone, so how were they fated to become lovers in the original chart? Ever since I arrived, Julian and Bianca's dynamic hasn't shifted much. The love brain buff hasn't upended his life either. Is this the halo of a world protagonist? Could he and Bianca stay completely unscathed? Then, while I was burrowed under my blanket, Tessa yanked me upright. Serena, Julian ticked humanities on the afternoon track selection form? The whole school's gossiping that he ditched STEM for you. Huh? I turned to find every classmate aiming gossip laser eyes at me. Lovely, let me mortify myself once more, shallow edition. But viewed from another angle, the male and female leads won't share a classroom anymore, and the hero won't get easily brainwashed by the heroine. Major progress in safeguarding the timeline. After tracking, I landed in the humanities honors class, and, surprise, Julian did too. His persona still matches the old fate chart, Eternal Ice King. I didn't initiate conversation. As long as he doesn't trigger love brain and crash the world, then lodge a posthumous complaint against me, he can do whatever he wants. We both signed up for Riverdale's summer retreat. While everyone was busy with Capture the Flag, I slipped away to consult the local dryad of this mountain, hoping to channel her and radio Professor Orion a report. I'd barely cleared one ridge when Julian's voice sounded behind me. Serena, where are you headed? I spun around in fright. While my brain frantically pieced together an alibi, a little flower-patterned snake shot from the grass and sank its fangs into Julian's neck. The ever-frozen expression on Julian's face never flickered. He simply closed his eyes and folded to the ground. Jade, have you lost it? That's the male lead. The tiny snake, this peak's local dryad, morphed into a middle school-looking girl who stood beside me, aggrieved. I just got peckish. He's so pretty I had to take a bite. Save him first. Dryad venom isn't hard to counter. Using Professor Orion's non-immortal mantra purge, I flushed the toxin from Julian's system. To avert any aftershocks, I hoisted him onto my back and hauled him to camp. When classmates saw me carry Julian in, their faces formed a spectrum of emoji reactions. After he came around, the first words from his lips were my name, fuel that set group chat thumbs typing at light speed. Ignoring the non-stop pings, I asked Julian if anything still hurt. No, all good. Just. Serena, did you save me? Wait. His features stayed calm, yet in his eyes I caught the exact look Professor Orion's pet fox gives when it's begging for pets, dangerously charming, scrambling my brain into a maze. I did. That night I discovered the explosive power of those two words. Julian stood outside my cabin tent, half-dried hair dripping, the white tee plastered to his frame. I realized Julian, like my Adrian, has a thing for white. White may spell purity, but let one extra color stain it and the picture changes completely. Spring hues drifted before my eyes, my soul spiraled inside my skull. I swallowed and asked what he needed. About today, I want to thank you. So tell me, is there anything you want? His expression hadn't shifted, but his pauses felt oddly placed. Anything at all? Yes, anything. As he spoke, he stepped closer. Becoming close friends with you, that's on the table too. Soul launched sky high. I could feel heat trickling below my nose. No, impossible. You must study hard, become the genius you're meant to be, no random ideas. While wiping the nosebleed, I shoved him away. Yeah, right, like I'd accept him. One slip and poof goes my pension. Though, those pecs looked solid. Wonder if they feel anything like Adrian's abs. I haven't seen that mask-obsessed wolf dog in 3 centuries. Click. Shutter sound. Suddenly I'm convinced the celestial of karma personally scripted my earthly fate chart, guaranteed center of gossip at all times. Serena's wild, alone with Julian, and she actually bled from the nose. Wonder how Bianca's gonna take it. That was the only Riverdale group post I caught. Dear heavens, am I making the world implode even faster? First day of the new semester, Bianca appeared before me so gorgeous I almost drooled. Like Chana stepped out of the moon palace. I'd spoken my thoughts aloud, again. Professor, ever since I hit the mortal realm I mortify myself daily. Serena, she said, I don't like Julian, we're just classmates. My sole goal was to beat him. But now I'm STEM and he's humanities, hardly rivals anymore. If you really like him, I wish you luck, just don't let a guy derail your studies. Wait, this Bianca isn't the figure I expected. Forget Professor Orion's 100 Laws of Love and its jerks and damsels formula. In every prior reel of Julian's life, Bianca was his predestined true love, yet the cord binding them was a red string knotted into dead loops. Everywhere were pitfalls, every turn a misunderstanding. She would abandon academics, quit jobs, even cut off her family just to stay with the cold, distant Julian. And the Julian of that chart, like most men I've watched for millennia, brimmed with ambition and duty and a sliver of affection, yet enough to make the heroine plunge into fire for him. But the girl standing in front of me right now just told me that, as the lead heroine, she doesn't actually like the hero. Is that even allowed? I suddenly remembered the argument raging among the celestial staff right before I left. In this new era, women have become suns who shine on their own. We can't shackle their whole lives with fate charts drawn up in some old contract. The world really felt as if it were falling apart, yet this particular kind of collapse had a strange pull on me. I swallowed the words that would have stopped her and asked instead, a little nervously, so, if I get stuck on a math problem, can I come to you? Of course. I'm free anytime. Great. I was ecstatic. Up in Celestial I'd barely seen Chairman E, but here on Earth I could hang out with her whenever I wanted. The moment I turned around, half the class was craning their necks for gossip. My phone buzzed with a text. Casey, Serena, what's with you? Why do you keep unsending messages from the underworld every single day? Riley, I was mortified. Tessa informed me the entire school was shipping couples. There's Julian and Bianca, there's you and Julian, and of course there's all Serena. All Serena? Means you alone collect everyone else. No way, no way. Casey once said anyone who 2 times gets rammed by the Forgotten River ferry after death and breaks into 4 pieces But I can't choose Julian now, either. The girl in front of me looked constipated. Following her stare, I found Julian standing right behind me. When I spun back, Tessa had vanished. Facing that gorgeous face, I felt fondness and panic. No. Julian, I didn't mean. I really didn't. Before I could finish, he drooped like a scolded puppy. I get it. I thought you liked me, that's why you saved me. Sorry for bothering you. I'll keep watching over you quietly, I won't make you unhappy. Wait, what do you mean? Julian lifted his head, eyes full of devotion. Serena, I like you, have since the first day we met. Hold on, the love brain hasn't worn off. The love brain is targeting me. This world is doomed. I freaked, rolled up my bedding, and was ready to bolt back to the Red Match Palace for a noon nap, pension or no pension. Mist swirled up, and a hand grabbed my packed bag. It was Professor Orion. I gesticulated wildly until I'd explained all the recent off-script chaos. He only stroked his beard, smiled, and told me to stay and help. But what about his love brain? Won't that destabilize the world and make it collapse? That depends on whom his love brain latches onto. If it's you, would you dump him, break his heart, and throw the world into turmoil? Thinking of that handsome face, I shook my head, then asked, so whose side am I on here? Go with the flow. When the time comes, Serena, you'll know. Remember, go with the flow. Still puzzled, I returned to the classroom and found Julian newly assigned as my desk mate. He'd resumed his Ice Prince top student mask, only the faint redness in his eyes betrayed him. I told myself, go with the flow. Julian, why did you pick the humanities track? I watched his tear-reddened eyes slowly blush deeper. Because it's your strength. I want to understand you, so I'm moving toward whatever you love. That sentence gave my heart a direct jab. Honestly, for a sapiosexual facecon, those words were chaos in my chest. After I went with the flow and ruffled his hair, I couldn't help thinking. Facing a specimen like this, sacrificing myself to be the target of his love brain might be acceptable. Let me repair this timeline with my own body. No way. After 999 years of watching foolish mortals, letting a pretty face sway me would be temporary. He still had to pass my tests. Julian kept his word. He tutored me in my weak subjects, read the books I read, played the games I played, and every morning brought me breakfast tailored to my taste. There was even a portion for Bianca. Serena, could you control Julian? He's taking love my friends to the max. Your friends can't handle the sugar storm. By now Bianca, like Tessa, had become an enthusiastic gal pal, regularly bribed by Julian. Tessa chimed in, Julian comes to me every day asking for stories about you. He's filled an entire A4 notebook. When I asked what he's planning, guess what he said? I don't have any wild hopes, and I don't need her to compromise for me. I just want everything she does to make her happy. So, Serena, what do you think? Me? I think I'll go with the flow. I told Julian the same thing, and he almost lifted me in a bear hug. After a warning glare from me, he spun in a circle on the spot. So I actually have a chance? You could say that. That night during self-study he suddenly texted me, that's okay, I'd be honored to be Serena's backup. Ah. A guy with love brain is beyond saving. Earth schools are nothing like celestial lecture halls. Here I tasted a different life. Professor Orion never contacted me again, and soon I faced the most important exam of all, and got into college. Julian scored almost the same as I did. We were admitted to the same university, the same major, even assigned to the same class. At the freshman welcome party Julian downed 2 beers and started a tipsy confession. What? Serena, hick. Serena? I want only Serena. While everyone looked around wondering who Serena was, he kept babbling, boss, get me an order of takoyaki to go, and a bowl of pear soup, my Serena loves those. Oh, and flowers, Lizzianthus, I'll buy Serena Lizzianthus on the way home, hee. All the classmates laughed, saying the new guy must be girlfriend-brained. Whoever the girl was, she had to be amazing to snag such a hottie. Then Julian tripped and fell right into my arms. He looked up, blinked misty puppy eyes, and said, you're so pretty, you look just like my Serena. Are you her? Julian, stop, you're drunk. You are Serena. Then can I hold your hand? Wobbly, he reached out, stars sparkling in his eyes. I gave in and extended my hand. Julian clasped it reverently and brushed a soft kiss across my palm. With a thunderous rush, the last floodgate in my heart burst open. He was already good enough, those so-called tests could go to hell. The campus WhatsApp group was soon flooded with a single story. It told of a boy who adored a girl like a goddess, and one line read, "The moment she stood in front of me, everything else was stripped away, only one sentence remained in my head, her voice is beautiful, I want to obey her every word." I glanced at the still icy Julian beside me and waggled my phone at him. The 6'1" boy immediately bent down, beaming, his invisible tail whipping little whirlwinds in the air. "Serena, I just wanted to write something. If you don't like it, I don't dislike it." "Don't dislike what?" "The story I wrote, or the guy who wrote it?" I said nothing. The welcome assembly began amid thunderous applause, and I whispered against his ear, "Neither. We were officially together." "Sorry, Professor Orion, I still surrendered to the cult of beauty. After all, who could resist a gorgeous man trotting after you every day, wagging his little tail?" But once we were actually dating, Julian's love brain truly activated. "Baby Serena, whatcha doing? My panel's almost over. Serena, let's go eat spicy chicken, okay?" "Serena, why were you ignoring me?" "Babe, whose heart are you warming now? Hoo. Fine, ignore me and I'll ignore you too. I've already ignored you for one whole second." "I'm getting mad." "Humph, woman, you toss me aside like old shoes." "I'll punish you." I caught the last line while chatting with my advisor about sources and texted back. The reply popped up instantly. Baby answered, "I'm not mad anymore." I swear, not a single rule from Professor Orion's 100 Laws of Love was ever deployed, yet Julian picked them up on his own. I started to feel every past dose of love brain had been shot into the wrong person. If we gave it all to the guys instead, wouldn't most romances end in happily ever afters? In this age of equality, millennium-old rules clearly don't apply. Julian chose historical linguistics for his focus, I picked modern literature. The night before track assignments, like a restless puppy he sniffed and kissed me non-stop, demanding I say I love you 100 times before he'd calm down. I finally understood the final law of love, what a sweet burden feels like. Near graduation, one day Julian pressed against me and said he was stressed. I thought the overdue melodrama was finally arriving, but he just hugged me, wronged and whimpering. "Wifey, you're so pretty, what if someone steals you?" "They won't." "How could I ever leave you? What if?" "I'm so scared, so wifey has to comfort me." When he tired himself out, Julian nuzzled my ear and murmured, "Serena, I love you." His clinging grew worse after my first book Her blew up. The essays distilled my 1,000-year observations on every kind of woman. After arriving on Earth, I realized that under banners of equality, mortal women could be as dashing as Chona, owning their own halls, or like the Dean, commanding the big picture from their strongest perch. So I wrote down those awakened, battling, upward-striving spirits for mortals and gods alike to see. The book rocketed. I gained legions of fans before graduation. OMG. The women this gorgeous sis writes, I'm in love. This is the feminist voice we want. Sniff, I wanna be like that. I was lost, but now I've decided, applying to gender studies grad school this year, I'm becoming truly independent. With prose this fierce, author must be a husband. Husband isn't a gender, it's an attitude. I want to marry Serena Sis's attitude. At first I shrugged it off, but soon I noticed every marry me or I'll wife her comment drew a reply from an account called Serena's Book. She's amazing, but maybe already taken? Eyes shut, don't look, she's my wife. I can set you up, any gender, just stop eyeing mine. Trolls got equally energetic responses. Troll, feminism? More like chicks doing pickup artist BS. Who'd worship that? Serena's Book, flunked preschool? Crawl back. No brain? Fight dung beetles. Don't parade that half-wit knowledge, your type couldn't pay someone to take you. Troll, random rant just stokes gender war. Serena's Book, nah, it's war between brains and whatever you are. Not calling you brainless, questioning your humanity. Troll, only a wimp would shill for this chick. Serena's Book, no wife, no dinner, go beg. Kowtow and maybe my wife flips you a coin out of pity. That night a teary Julian wrapped his arms around my waist and whined that his teeth were bad, he'd have to eat soft rice, live off me. Fine, my big puppy gets whatever he wants. Professor Orion finally reappeared 6 years later. By then I had my own career. Julian's academic papers and face had made him a media darling. The day Orion came, my second book, Field Notes from Earth, had just launched. It collected mortal stories in which I spent pages portraying earthly women utterly unlike celestial legend. He told me the book had reached the celestial realm and was being studied word by word. Serena, you completed the assignment brilliantly, you can return anytime. But I never shoved Julian back into the future written on his fate chart. Is that really okay? That chart was only one possible future. No one ever decreed a person gets just one. Fate charts can be rewritten? Why haven't I heard that before? Ahem. They couldn't, until you just proved they can. You even beta tested whether that old contract needs amending. I sputtered, Professor. You used me as a lab rat. Weren't you afraid your cute little disciple might get flattened when reality imploded? He gave an awkward laugh. Relax, someone's got your back. Humph, what if you're too old and can't protect me anymore? Running my mouth earned me a 10,000-word fieldwork report, to be hand-delivered to Celestial. Before I left, I texted Julian, gotta pop out for a bit, day stuff. I'll be back for your ceremony tonight, mwah. I honestly thought I'd drop the folder off and be gone in 5 minutes. But the Chancellor and Taylor acted like they'd just caught a rare Pokemon, grilling me about everything under the heavens while Celestial's grandfather clock swallowed half an hour. By now half a mortal day had probably vanished too. There's no Verizon in the sky, my phone was a paperweight up here. It was Professor Orion who finally scurried in, panting, to tell me that down on Earth Julian's tear-streaked backstage photo was going viral. The trending tag was exploding. Academic hottie alert, someone sent him to my lecture hall. Random users were posting crying emojis and demanding to know what cosmic equation had broken the golden boy. One top comment read, "Ship the genius and the problem to my place, my libido will solve both." I massaged my temples at the chaos below. Chancellor, Taylor, please, Julian's got a ceremony, if I'm not there. Taylor's face darkened. He'll snap at you? No, but he'll cry rivers and ask if I stopped loving him. The Chancellor and Taylor burst into teasing giggles. I rocketed back to campus and found Julian in the wings, hugging his phone like a lost puppy, completely clueless that he'd already broken the internet. The second he spotted me, galaxies ignited in his doggy eyes and he sprinted, crashing into me and circling my waist. Babe, I thought you ditched me. You wouldn't answer, where were you? I missed you so bad. I petted his hair while smiling apologetically at the faculty member trying to cue him on stage. Only after I pinky promised did Julian switch from tragic pup to star student and stride up to collect his award. Then came the acceptance speech. Thanks to my wife, love you, wife is the GOAT. Yup, after all these mortal years, public mortification is basically my cardio. A helpful reporter filmed me calming him backstage, paired with that nuclear thank you. The clip detonated online. Netizens screamed, the Ice King valedictorian is a proud love brain, red-cheeked and loud about it. Within hours my identity was excavated. When everyone realized we'd already picked up the marriage certificate, the buzz turned into fireworks. So this is what talent meets beauty looks like in real life. Give me more. I'm waving the book paint CP flag so hard it's hurricanes in every direction. If I had a wife as gorgeous and brilliant as Serena, I'd be 24/7 hard eyes too. Wait, remember that rumor ages ago that Serena was taken? They even unearthed Julian's alt account. And half our old classmates swore we'd been soulmates since orientation. The mini-essay Julian posted during freshman move-in resurfaced and rocketed across the web. Now that he's staked his claim out loud, the perpetual glacier smirk is gone, replaced by a smug, can't-stop grin. He's abandoned stealth mode, only likes from his main handle now. One user asked, "You switched from STEM to humanities for her, any regrets?" I watched Julian reply with his blue-checked badge. I didn't switch for her. I switched to keep pace with her. I own every step of my life, and with Serena, it's never been settling, it's a full-speed run toward the same horizon. Right then I understood why reality hadn't imploded. Julian had chosen a different track, but his conviction was ironclad. We stayed sickeningly sweet till wrinkles and gray hairs. The moment my immortal soul slipped free, it zipped back to Celestial. I felt a pang, but I'd already had a lifetime hand-in-hand with Julian. Greed is forbidden. The board reviewed my report, deliberated under chandeliers, and voided the millennium-old contract, sealing a new one. The job distribution of Lovebrain still existed, and I kept the cushiest gig in the bureaucracy plus my full pension, only the recipe was tweaked. 3 parts pure love, 3 parts reason, 3 parts ambition, 1 part glorious madness. And when I sprinkle it over earth, I don't bother sorting by gender, everyone gets a light misting. Love brain is no longer shorthand for stupidity, it's the emblem of humanity's most exquisite offering. I was parked in the grand hall with Tessa, munching popcorn over Professor Orion's latest scandal with the Fox Clan matriarch, when a herald burst in. The chairman's first disciple has returned from the trials of ascension. Adrian? Back? I hadn't even realized he'd left to face a trial. A man in a pristine white mask stepped into view, and something about him felt off, yet delight sparked. We hadn't met in centuries. Adrian, welcome home. That cool, clipped syllable froze me. Too familiar, not centuries old familiar, but see you in 5 minutes familiar. The next second he yanked me into an iron embrace. Serena, babe, you reincarnated too fast, I could barely catch up. Julian. I ripped the mask away, the face underneath was identical. So this was my Adrian, masked all along because 2 trials still loomed, only after the 3rd could he bear his face. The mortal world I'd visited was precisely where he faced the final ordeal, the trial of love. Professor Orion's promise that someone will shield you had meant Adrian, already double triumphed, burning centuries of cultivation to cocoon my descent. In places I'd never seen, our red hemp cord had stayed lashed tight. The hollow ache in my chest dissolved like sugar, and so the sweet burden of life rebooted on max volume. Serena, why didn't you tell me you were dropping by Alchemy Hall? Wife, I'm 5 centuries older, are you gonna call me grandpa? Baby Serena, you're ignoring me, am I past my pretty boy expiration date? Crying emoji. Fresh off shift, I surrendered. Fine, I'm done. You may enter. A white blur torpedoed into my palace, actual wolf dog tail whipping like a metronome on overdrive. Adrian glued himself to me. Wife, I love you. Only then did Dean's prophecy click. I'd never face a cataclysm because love had been clearing the road ahead of me all along. Thanks for listening to today's tale. How would you score it, 1 to 10? If you enjoyed it, smash that like and share it with friends. Tell us your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories. See you next time.
Our first classmate get-together since Harborview graduation. Naturally, the conversation circled around how everyone was crushing it these days. When the questions finally landed on me, the roommate who'd once frozen me out jumped in first. She's working for my senior now. Gasps all around. The senior you said started his own company. When are you going to bring him around? Whitney twirled a lock of hair. Next time, maybe. He just closed Series A funding from Vance Group, so he's swamped. Wait, Vance Group Series A? Since when did my family launch a charity for posers division? Pity the room bought her fairy tale wholesale. Vance Group? No way. Your senior's a beast. Any openings? I'm ready to jump ship. Whitney, could your senior refer me into Vance? A halo of admirers closed around Whitney, the classmates who couldn't squeeze and suddenly remembered there was someone else they could grill. They looked at me, standing off to the side. Haley, you're at Whitney Senior's company too, right? How's the comp? I've been thinking of switching. I smiled. We only collaborate on a few projects. I don't know the day-to-day. Better ask Whitney. Apparently, Whitney knew far more than I did about my own fiancé and my own family's firm. That senior she kept quoting happened to be my boyfriend and my fiancé. I hadn't realized they'd added a senior, junior chapter to their script. When the party broke up, everyone swapped WhatsApps with Whitney, promised to stay in touch, and drifted off. I'd barely cleared the Grand's revolving door when I heard my name. Haley, wait. Whitney hurried after me, looked me up and down, and sniffed. Riley, like you dare show up to a classmate reunion? Guess the sugar daddy job market's hot, huh? She click-clacked away on her stilettos before I could blink. Excuse me, Riley? Me? The accusation was so absurd my brain buffered. Seriously, 2 diplomas from New England Prep School and Vance Ivy, and suddenly I'm a Riley? I yanked out my phone, double-checked the graduation dates on my transcripts, and exhaled. Still real. Not trapped inside a novel. Good. I shrugged it off and headed to Harborview to pick up Mason's watch. The limited edition timepiece had been my engagement gift to him. Hand-built, one of one, shipped from Milan. Customs had delayed it, but it had finally arrived. After collecting it, I window shopped until 4, then swung by Mason's office. "Miss Vance, welcome. Mr. Sterling's in a boardroom. I'll put you in the lounge. Earl or espresso?" "Earl, please." Right away. I settled onto the sofa, scrolled Instagram, and felt something off. I glanced up, just as a cup of tea flew at me, drenching my silk blouse. What the hell? Whitney stood there, hand still poised from the toss. "Oops, slipped. Sorry." Her stage whisper followed. Strolls in after lunch, surfs her phone, then throws attitude. "Must be nice." "Oh." Her whisper was so private the entire floor heard it. "Say that again," I snapped. The secretary's face darkened. "Whitney, enough." She refused to back down. "I'm just saying, this place is full of elite talent. One bad ruins the pot." She added a couple of eye rolls for garnish. I flung the wet tissue at her. "This blouse cost $3,000. Invoice incoming." Her jaw dropped. $3,000 for a top? You're scamming me. I've got the receipt. Pay up or I call Harborview PD. She sputtered. "Buying $3,000 shirts with your man's money. Shameless." I arched a brow. "Cop or card, pick one." Just then the boardroom door opened and Mason stepped out. "What's the yelling about?" I pointed at Whitney. "She redecorated my shirt with tea and won't pay." Whitney's face flipped to waif in distress mode. Instead of backing me, Mason turned to me. "She's Vance in turn, still green." "Don't be petty." "Oh, green, huh?" I drew the syllable out. "Not PTTY." He looked between us. "Whitney, apologize so we can move on." She managed to curtsy and jab at once. "Sorry, Haley. Next time, maybe pour your own tea." I beamed. If the boss is this generous on my behalf, who am I to argue? I pivoted to Mason, palm up. "Card, please." He blinked.
What?
"You're footing the replacement bill, right? Slide it over, and I'll grab a new blouse before dinner. Or should I show up looking like a paper towel?" Silence. Then he fished out a black card, suddenly remembering I was his fiancée. "Code's your birthday." I pocketed it. "Thanks, Casey." I wasn't about to sulk. I had shopping to do. 30 minutes and $30,000 later the card declined. Fair trade. $3,000 shirt for a $30,000 spree. I dug out the credit card Mason had given me at our engagement. I'd spared him the swipe while the startup earned cash. Now I knew better. Run this one. After retail therapy, I drove to Willowbrook Tea Estate. My fiancé loves tea. A whole plantation would keep him and his mean girl well steeped. I told the manager, "My fiancé adores Earl, so I'm buying him a tea garden as Vance's engagement gift." As for the limited edition timepiece, Mason didn't deserve Swiss perfection. Dad would appreciate it more. When the final invoice hit, Mason's card maxed out at $500,000. Seriously? All this time and only $500,000 in credit? Whatever. I'd drain it and wire the rest myself. Call it bridal benevolence. Of course, the deed will list yours truly. A gift's only meaningful when and ownership are crystal clear. I'd shopped till I was spent. I skipped the evening gala. Wasn't my party anyway, it was Mason's. The way Whitney cooed Sr. at Mason, sweeter than most women say husband, told me something was blooming between them. Spring fever, maybe? Time to prod Mason and see how long he could keep acting. Want to try on wedding gowns? Maybe my silent treatment yesterday had rattled him. He answered in seconds. I was a jerk. "Let me book the fitting. Just show up." I texted back, deadpan.
"K."
The appointment was set for Sunday afternoon. After lunch, I drove to the pin Mason had dropped. He'd chosen a high-end boutique, 1 hour, $10,000 minimum, a number that made me smile. Someone's wallet was about to hemorrhage. My good mood flatlined the moment I stepped into the salon and found Whitney already veiled in white. This ex-roommate was popping up so often I felt as if I were engaged to her instead of Mason. What are you doing here? Whitney beamed at her reflection, brushing me off. Mason had Vance's emergency. Leo was overkill for dress duty, so I volunteered. She was twirling in the exact design I'd bookmarked as my favorite. Vance's icy calm detonated inside me. Translation: I laughed in fury. I turned to the sales lead. Who authorized her to put those gowns on? She said Mason hired her as a fitting model, so you wouldn't tire yourself. Is that wrong? Fitting models are real. When there are dozens of dresses and you want a body double. But they're supposed to match your measurements. Eyed Whitney. Barely 5'2", ruler straight. Me. 5'9", curves included.
Fine.
Let her model every piece for me. I blacklisted the boutique in my head and parked on the velvet sofa to enjoy the free floor show. Even a circus charges admission. Whitney catwalked gleefully, snapping selfies in every mirror, then posted. Wearing white for the one I love most. Filters cranked to max, waist cinched to negative space, curtain pleats blurred into clouds. Caption dripping with bait. I'd bet money she'd tagged someone specific. Sure enough, a certain someone double-tapped within seconds. No names mentioned? Same here. I liked the post anyway, then watched the like vanish the second mine appeared. A moment later the whole post disappeared. Trust evaporates fast. Whitney could block me, but I'd already screenshotted everything. These kids play dirty. Why should I sit out? Watching a turnip try haute couture was fresh entertainment. I drafted my own post, attaching her raw photos, helping my fiancé's girlfriend find her dream gown. Rooting for you, Whitney. May you get that promotion soon. Tagged Mason and Whitney, finger hovering over share. Whitney stretched, suddenly exhausted. That's enough for now. Did any gowns catch your eye? The clerk asked. 3 hours, 5 minutes. How would you like to pay? I yawned from the sofa. Whoever wore them pays. The associate's smile spasmed, but she pivoted to Whitney. So, Miss Cross, how will you be settling the bill? Whitney clutched the skirt like it might bite.
Me?
I'm broke. I lifted both hands.
Don't look at me.
I'm not covering it. You let a random client climb into gowns I requested before I even arrived. I'm not pressing charges yet. And you call that squash a stand-in model? Either you're incompetent or you two are friends abusing employee privileges. The clerk flushed crimson, finger trembling. You're bailing on the fee? We'll call Harborview. Stop pretending. You brag about 3 grand blouses, but can't cough up 3 grand cash. So much for self-control. I'd been fishing. The blouse price gave her away. 3 grand blouses, huh? I narrowed my eyes. Fetch your manager. Otherwise, I'm reporting fraud. And yes, I recorded everything. She went ash gray and scurried off. I rattled off the offenses for the manager. Privacy breach, attempted fraud, providing Vance other service for client's husband. He forced a smile. How would you like to resolve this? I'm reasonable, I said. I didn't wear a stitch, so I'm not paying. Let the lady in tulle foot the bill, and we're square. The manager bow scraped. Of course. Miss Cross, the fitting comes to $30,000. How would you like to pay? Whitney stood frozen, finally fumbling for her black card and Afterpay, maxing both to scrape together the amount. Destiny really loves pairing her with the number 3. Show over. I skipped to the exit and, with a tap, released my draft post to the world. The fallout was instant. Mason's calls came in machine gun bursts. When I ignored them, he texted, "Delete that post." I had no idea Whitney crashed the fitting. A liar's tongue is looser than data. Believing him makes me the emperor of China. I typed back, I am the emperor. Venmo me $1 million to prove your loyalty. Don't have that. 300K and you delete. Sorry, your credit score's too low for discounts. Haley. Don't push me. Conversation collapsed. At least on his side. Whitney and I were never close. Back at Harborview, I'd paid for a day student pass because I hated boarding, keeping a dorm slot only, so I had somewhere to nap at lunch. But I remember her clearly because she framed me. One noon hour, she and her friends were roughhousing when someone got hurt. The parents stormed the school, the dean hauled the girls in, and Whitney sobbed that I'd organized the game and injured the classmate. She cried buckets, as if I'd forced her into it. I was summoned to the office, clueless, and after I finally pieced together what they were accusing me of, I demanded the security footage and asked other classmates to back me up. The teacher realized the mistake but never apologized. She just smoothed things over and defended Whitney. Her parents are strict. She was scared. That's why she lied. I thought that was the end, until I was slowly frozen out. Whitney whispered that I looked down on everyone. Her story was flimsy, but she played innocent and pitiful, and the injured girl, terrified of her parents, piled on. Even though the footage never showed me, I was bolted into the villain's chair. When group projects came around, no one picked me. I turned invisible overnight, and the place suddenly bored me. I went home, explained the situation, and my family withdrew me for a gap year before shipping me off to a New England prep school. I'm thick-skinned. It took me a year to realize what Whitney had done was outright bullying. By then, it was ancient history. Pursuing it felt pointless. But because I never went back, Whitney apparently decided I'd crumbled, and Riley. I hate self-righteous idiots. Whitney and Mason both. Time to teach them a lesson. I've been busy balancing the books. I dropped serious money on Mason during the engagement. This week I've clawed some back. Still, something nagged at me until I flipped through the receipts. Then I smacked my forehead. The car. To help him impress investors, I'd gifted him a $500,000 ride. That needs to come home too. I rolled into the basement garage of a startup at the perfect moment. Mason sat in the driver's seat while a woman dove into his lap, their kiss sloppy and desperate. From the back, I caught the sturdy waist, the thick calves, the baby pink JK uniform. Oh look, our old classmate. Old friends deserve a warm welcome. Hey, fiancé. I yanked the door open, slapped him clean across the face, and hauled him out. Then I slid behind the wheel, clicked my belt, and floored it. Whitney's still inside. She clutched the strap, voice trembling. Stay calm. Murder's illegal. Funny how panic strikes only after you've stolen a man. I'll call 911. She tried again as the scenery turned bleak. Afraid now? That wasn't the vibe when you were tonguing the trash. When we reached the middle of nowhere, I nosed the shoulder, killed the engine, and twisted to face the mean girl. Mason will destroy you if I vanish, she squeaked, shrinking against the door. I smiled, popped her belt, shouldered her door open, and, in one smooth motion, grabbed her thigh and flipped. Whitney flew, face planting into the mud. I slammed the door, locked it, U-turned, and left her spitting dirt. The tightness in my chest finally loosened, until I felt sick all over again. He cheats with his mistress in my car. Worse, the mistress is the girl who orchestrated my exile. After dropping the car at a detailer, I went home and changed the door code. My phone was already vomiting missed calls and texts from Mason. Cool down, let me explain. Don't blow this up. Where did you dump Whitney? Don't drag innocent people in. Then the clincher. You don't want this reaching your parents. Whenever Mason plays that card, my dear future mother-in-law is next in line. I texted back. Let's call off the engagement. Tell your circle yourself. Before I do, I photographed every toothbrush and hoodie he'd left in my flat and listed them online for next to nothing. By sunset, they were gone. While I bagged the last sweater, Whitney spammed me. You can spend his money, but you'll never have his love. I laughed. Wasn't she the one licking his wallet? More missed calls from Mason's mom, scolding me for neglecting my duty. Men must network. You should have stayed home and guarded him. Apologize, quit your job, cook his meals. Babies fix everything. Sweet dreams, lady. Your son's salary comes out of my account. A while back, when Whitney bragged that Mason had landed a Series A from Vance Group, I rang Andrew. Turned out they'd met at a cocktail reception. Mason forced his pitch into the conversation, and Andrew, remembering our engagement, was politely encouraging. Let's talk, and Mason thought he'd caught a golden ticket. No need to humor his little shop owner fiancé. I hung up, annoyed. If he's going to flaunt a deal that doesn't exist, the least I can do is give him something real to flaunt. Mason borrowed a car from a friend and finally tracked down Whitney, whom I dumped on the outskirts. He saw her crouching pitifully by the roadside, dirt still on her clothes, and glared at me in open disapproval. Whitney seized the moment to comfort him. Mason, I'm fine, don't worry. I just hate seeing you treated like this. Whatever's wrong, you two should talk it out. Haley didn't leave you a shred of face. She rolled her eyes and started slipping in the knife. Mason, don't go easy on her just because she's a woman. What's she so high and mighty about? She spends her money every day and still doesn't get that the two of you are a team. The words slid straight into Mason's ego. His machismo crystallized in the echo of her voice. Haley really is too immature. But Mason cooled off fast. Haley was still useful. He couldn't break the engagement. The last time he'd run into the CEO of Vance Group, the man had seemed to know her. Mason was counting on that connection. If the engagement had to end, it couldn't be his fault. Certainly not when he was the one in the wrong. He had to hook Vance Group first, so he quickly iMessaged Leo. Leo, about the partnership we mentioned last time. I think you're mistaken, Mr. Sterling. The boss never brought up any partnership. It must have slipped his mind. How about dinner to talk it over? Sorry, Andrew's schedule is packed. We'll be in touch. Mason stared at the screen, face dark. The deal had evaporated, and he was sure Haley was behind it. Vance's ideas sparked. Right. If Andrew wants Haley so badly, why not deliver her to his bed? It would flatter Andrew and give Mason dirt on Haley, enough to force her to call off the engagement. A wicked grin spread across his face. He leaned to Whitney's ear and whispered the plan. They both broke into delighted laughter. Mason texted Leo again, inviting Andrew to dinner. There may have been a misunderstanding. I've booked a private dining room to apologize. I hope Andrew will honor us. Oh, and Haley will be there to... This time the reply came instantly. Send the time and placed. Mason beamed and fired back the Grand's address, triumphant. What he didn't know, Leo forwarded the text to my brother while I was raiding his fridge for crab. Andrew showed me the screen. I cracked a claw. Say yes. I want to see what circus trick those two have planned. He kneaded his temples. Playing with gutter trash. Mom and Dad won't stay blind forever. I slurped row, waving dismissively. It's just Vance's engagement, not a wedding. I'm about to close the net. Chill. If they find out, I'm not taking the fall. I parked a crab on his plate. Relax, bro, eat. To set the scene, Mason spent 3 days being nauseatingly sweet. Didn't even whine when I repossessed his car. Haley, I was wrong. Whitney threw herself at me. I see that now. Let me make it up to you. Here's my black card, swipe away. Then we'll have dinner. I've invited Andrew. Getting to know the CEO of Vance Group is a once-in-a-lifetime shot. Mason could swallow his pride faster than cheap tequila. He hovered, bowing and scraping. I swallowed the urge to gag. The show had to go on. Fine. Hand it over. Card number 3 landed in my palm. What to buy this time? After I drained the card again, I showed up at the Grand. Mason was already in the private dining room, tea and juice laid out. Shop till you dropped? Bet you're parched. Have some tea. He placed a cup in front of me, fingers trembling. I smiled, tipped it back in one gulp. Minutes later, I faked a yawn. Mason jumped. Tired? I reserved a suite upstairs, take a nap. I'll have room service send up. I yawned wider. What about Andrew? I'll keep him company. Okay, nap time. He slid a keycard across the table, escorted me to the elevator, then hurried back. Whitney pounced the instant he returned. Did it work? Mason grinned, flashing the okay sign. Knew you'd nail it, Mason. She hugged his arm, already picturing me caught in bed, dumped in disgrace. She sipped her wine, smile razor sharp. Haley doesn't know how good she has it. If it were me, I'd drop everything, help you build your empire, play the perfect little wife. Seeing him frown, she squeezed his hand. Relax, her family's nobody. That's why she dropped out of prep school. She's always chased rich guys. Where else would she get the money for those designer outfits? In her script, I was a gold-digging sinking, while she was the pure martyr ready to sacrifice everything for love. When Andrew arrived, Mason ordered a feast and popped several bottles. Andrew barely touched a bite. After dessert, Mason palmed him the second keycard, murmuring there was Vance after-dinner surprise upstairs. Andrew pocketed it. All right, drop by the office next week and we'll talk Series A. Mason beamed. I'll leave you to enjoy the evening. He whisked Whitney away. She was already tipsy, eyes sparkling with triumph, not a flicker of guilt over the life she thought she was wrecking. She pretended to stumble, collapsing against him. Whitney? Too much wine. She pressed her face to his chest, voice quivering. I'm okay, just memories flooding back. Senior, you know I've watched you since prep school. You were my first love. Tears slid free. It breaks my heart that she doesn't see how amazing you are. You deserve someone who worships you. Whitney, under the city lights, they leaned closer, drawn together by scheming and nostalgia. After watching Mason and Whitney leave, my brother handed the keycard to Leo. He himself took the elevator to the presidential suite on the top floor to find me. I was scrolling through the Grand's kitchen security footage, watching Whitney in a waitress uniform slip sleeping powder into the cup meant for me. I paused the clip and turned to security. Burn me a copy and email it over. Keep one on file here so Mason and Whitney can't blame the hotel. Andrew walked in and dropped onto the sofa. That tea we're supposed to drink is already at the lab, results pending. Oh, and here's the voice recorder you taped beneath the table. He tossed me the slim device. Mason's stunt was disgusting. Want me to ruin him? I shook my head. Having someone else swing the bat is never as satisfying. No need. The bait's taken. I'm about to haul the net. All I still needed was Whitney's Finsta. Someone that addicted to showing off would definitely run a private account for bragging rights. Thanks to big data, I'd stumbled across it a few days earlier while doom scrolling. Post number 1. Turns out my boss is my old senior from Harborview. Dial up the heart emojis. After that came daily bulletins on their sweet routine. Her followers kept asking when the senior would finally make it official. Last night, she finally delivered the goods. Officially with senior thanks for all the love and support, guys. Picture. 2 sets of fingers interlaced. Comments wall-to-wall congratulations. I smiled and texted Leo. Forward Mason our cooperation NDA contract. Make sure the confidentiality clause is bolded, I added. Whitney didn't keep me waiting. By the next morning she'd spammed fresh flexes. The bag senior bought me. Snapshot of a 5-figure tote. The necklace he picked, glimmering gemstones under vanity lights. My man is amazing. Landed Andrew's Series A. Photo of the signed term sheet. Vance Group to inject $10 million for the new project. Exactly what I needed. Giddy or just plain dumb, she cross-posted to her Finsta, her main feed, and the classmate group chat. I screenshotted everything to Leo. Mason had breached the NDA. The deal died on the spot. Investment recalled. The VC partners exploded, accusing him of catastrophic loose lips for vaporizing the Vance round. They demanded he line up fresh money fast or face Vance's emergency vote to replace him as CEO. One little post, and Mason's throne started wobbling. Of course, he blamed Whitney for torpedoing his almost coronation. Now no amount of tears helped. She was fired for leaking the contract and blacklisted industry-wide. She camps outside Mason's condo daily, sobbing apologies. But he's too busy scrambling to even roll down the window. Cash is another headache. My shopping spree these past weeks bled his operating account dry. Bottom line, Mason's broke. Desperate to scare up capital, he threatened to sue Andrew for backdoor dealing. Sue me? I should ask where you got the guts to set my sister up. Mason, remember how you kick a sinking? Mason couldn't process that the summit had been within reach. Haley can't be your sister. You don't even share a last name. I chimed in sweetly. I took Mom's surname, actually. Andrew produced the drug T certificate, the voice recording, and the keycard logs, then countersued for extortion. With Whitney's help, the case wrapped them together. The lovebirds who once swore eternal devotion suddenly played hot potato with blame inside the Harborview precinct. He forced me. He's my boss. If I disobeyed, he'd axe me, a lowly intern.
Bull.
She seduced me. She's the one who brought up spiking the drink. They screamed until cops split them into separate rooms. Mason's company dissolved into panic the moment he was cuffed. Employees bailed. Investors raced to dump shares of the toxic asset. Morgan, I scooped up the firm for pocket change. Call it sentiment? Hardly. My eyes were always on the data model Mason paraded as his crown jewel. He wasn't the architect. The model was my senior thesis brainchild. Months of grind by me and my lab partners. We'd planned to launch with it until someone cloned it and monetized our work. Andrew suggested a lawsuit, but I knew justice crawls. By the time a verdict landed, Mason could sail off with the profits. I don't wait. If the plagiarist helped himself to my project, reclaiming what's mine is only fair play. So I built the trap and invited the thief inside. Stolen goods recovered, plus I inherited a running company. Saves me the startup phase. As a bonus, Whitney and Mason are neatly gift-wrapped for karma. Net profit. Astronomical. No one realizes the text that sparked Whitney's jealousy came from me. Haley's so lucky. New rich boyfriend again. I merely struck the match. She sprinted into the snare and happily executed every chore on my checklist. While they toasted their imagined victory, they forgot greed turns dreams to smoke. In the end, emptiness. Thanks for listening. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate today's story? If you liked it, smash that double tap and share with friends. We'd love to hear your take in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe for more tales.
See you next time.